going on everyone? Mr. 95 here with a new forum battle that I've actually been eager to make. I was watching one of my favorite movies called The Mummy and I enjoyed it, and little by little I came upon an idea. A battle between Egyptian inspired warriors. And one thing that represents Egypt all too well would be mummies. And a bunch of stories and myths exist to explain how powerful a mummy actually may be. And after taking a closer look at the might of priest Imhoteb, I immediately remembered a Killer Instinct character. And so I thought, who would come out victorious in a devastation battle between the mummy Imhoteb and the mummy that actually isn't a mummy named Kan-Ra from the Killer Instinct game? This creature is the bringer of death. He will never eat, he will never sleep, he will never stop. That's how Imhotep was described by his enemy. Imhotep was an ancient Egyptian priest, a high priest of Osiris and the advisor to Seti I, pharaoh of Egypt. The story of Imhotep is one of love and deception. Despite his position as a priest, he lived out a great secret. He loved the mistress of the pharaoh Anck-su-namun. No man was allowed to touch her. They took precautions to keep their romance a secret. And at one night, Anck-su-namun and Imhotep spoke to assassinate the pharaoh so they could live finally together. Both of them succeeded into killing the pharaoh, except that the woman ended up taking her life to be freed. Imhotep promised to resurrect her with the Book of the Dead, the sacred Book of Amun-Ra. He almost succeeded into bringing her back, but before the ritual could be finished, he was ambushed by the Magi, said his faithful guards. For punishment, Imhotep had to endure the Hamdai, an ancient malediction created by the ancient high priest of Egypt, reserved only for blasphemers. It's a punishment that is used for all those that committed sexual crimes with the pharaoh's daughters or sons, or better said, his property. And that's why it probably wasn't used at all. The side effect of that curse would be to give the victim great power should the victim be revived, bringing with him the 10 plagues of Egypt, which are the plague of blood, changing the waters into blood, the plague of frogs. They would come with a great amount in houses and streets, only to die and leaving stinking mounds of frog corpses. The plague of lice, the plague of flies, meaning a vast swarm of disease-carrying biting flies, the plague of beasts, meaning camels, horses, donkeys, and all of the same kind of animals died simultaneously at once, plague of boils and sores. Imhotep used this plague to put a mind control spell on the citizens of Cairo. Plague of hail and fire, meaning burning hail would rain down and burn innocents and destroying buildings. Plague of locusts, which would devour all the crops and plants until nothing remained. Plague of darkness, meaning a wave of darkness coating the land of Egypt in darkness lasting 3 days. And at last the plague of firstborn, meaning that every firstborn son would immediately be killed. Including the 10 plagues, Imhotep has several other powers at his disposal, such as regeneration, invulnerability, the ability to turn himself into sand and control the desert sands, telekinesis, which enable him to control a vast body of water, immortality, and many others. To tell you the truth, I wasn't really aware of how strong he actually was. The creature is unstoppable, and having such a foe against you, what would be the odds? Everything would play against you. On the other hand, you have the challenger, Kan-Ra, the opponent that looks just like a mummy but isn't. Kan-Ra is an accursed sorcerer from ancient Babylon. He did not always have this appearance. He was once a handsome man. He has this emaciated corpse-like appearance due to the powerful curse that was placed on him about 2,000 of years ago by the Babylonian king. He was cursed to rot after a failed assassination attempt on his sovereign all these years back. But he endured for centuries by constantly balancing the curses he places on himself with the boons provided by dark magic and artifacts, which he carries. Now, Kan-Ra was and still is truly obsessed with power. During the reign of the Babylonian king, he was his counselor and after plundering the royal libraries, he delved into dark and dangerous black magics, enabling him of becoming very powerful. To be able to eliminate the Babylonian king and gain himself a seat on the royal throne, he placed a curse on the queen that put her under his control. He planned to have her assassinate the king instead of himself. Only problem is, his abilities weren't as formidable as he thought, and the spell wore off. Depressed that she had allowed herself to be manipulated, she committed suicide, enraging the king. After Kan-Ra was beaten into a bloody pulp, the king asked his magicians to cast a curse on him. A curse which would cause his flesh to painfully corrode and decompose for eternity. Since his current status is alive, he has endured all these centuries and has gained knowledge and powers through time. He wields dangerous black magics. He can use his bandages thanks to telekinesis. He can make traps. He can manipulate desert sands and sirocco winds from afar. He can control powerful bursts of shadow energy. He is also able to plunging his entire body into plumes of sand to reappear elsewhere, or cast maledictions on his victims which slow their movement and drain all their life's energy. Imhotep and Kan-Ra are both of them alike, maybe like twins, with more or less the same abilities. Who will be able to take the upper hand? Who will be more wise in this battle to find the advantage needed to come out victorious? Would it be the immortal Imhotep or would it be the immortal Kan-Ra?